Picture this: a town where sunset is the scariest part of your whole day. Every single night, something that ain't human walks the streets, and the only thing standing between you and a straight-up horrible death is a little handmade charm hanging on your door. This is the story of a nightmare town that traps every single traveler dumb enough to wander in, and the family who accidentally drove smack into it. Stick around, because this ending is gonna mess you up. Every evening, right before sundown, the local sheriff, let's call him Boyd, walks the streets ringing a bell. It's the town's curfew signal, no ifs, ands, or buts. Diners get cleared out, jukeboxes flicker on all by themselves, and every last resident locks their doors, shuts their windows, and double-checks that their protective charm is exactly where it ought to be. One guy, the town drunk, is way too far gone to move, and the bartender can't shake him awake in time. Boyd checks a sign outside his office. It counts the days since the last incident. Right now, it reads 96. Meanwhile, a young girl named Megan is praying in her bedroom when an old woman shows up at her window, begging to be let in. Megan knows the rule: never open that window after dark. But the woman swears she'll keep it hush-hush, and Megan caves. Her mom shows up just in time to watch the old woman morph into something straight out of a nightmare. It attacks them both. The next morning, the drunk guy, Megan's dad, stumbles home to find a crowd gathered outside his house. Boyd, furious, smacks him for never nailing his windows shut. Upstairs, it's a bloodbath. His wife and daughter, gone. He gets hauled off on the spot, and Boyd spots the family's protective charm just lying there on the floor. Useless. A few miles out, a family's cruising on an RV road trip. Dad Jim, Mom Tabitha, teenage daughter Julie, and little Ethan. A fallen tree blocks the road, and a swarm of crows scatters the second they step out to check it out. Freaked out, they turn back, but their phones lose signal. The GPS craps out. And no matter which way they drive, the road keeps dragging them right back into this same creepy little town where a funeral's just wrapping up. Fed up, Jim floors it the other way, right into the path of a car flying down the road. He swerves hard, sending the RV tumbling down a hill. The other driver, a young guy named Toby, plows into a tree and stumbles out puking from the shock. He sprints for help and finds Boyd and his deputy Kenny laying down a spike strip. A little detail that's gonna matter big time later. At the crash site, Boyd finds Toby's buddy Jade, totally out of it and cuffed for his own good, then pulls Jim and Julie out of the wreck. Tabitha's knocked out cold, and Ethan's got a table leg jammed straight through his own leg. The town doc, Christy, says getting it out safely is gonna take at least an hour, but it's less than 40 minutes till dark. Boyd makes the call. He and Christy hunker down in the RV overnight with just one talisman for protection, while everybody else heads back to town before nightfall. At the clinic, Toby wakes up freaking out. A woman named Sarah works there, calms him down with a kiss, tells him none of this is on him, then straight up stabs him in the throat. Muttering to herself, she says there's something she's gotta do before shoving a scalpel in his mouth to make it look like a monster did it. First sign that the scariest thing in this town might not be the monsters at all. Out on the road, the truck sent to grab Tabitha and Julie hits that exact spike strip Boyd laid earlier, so the townsfolk end up dragging the two women on foot through a downpour to a second refuge, Colony House, run by a woman named Donna. The guards almost don't let them in, not buying that they're even human until the creatures start closing in and Donna makes the call herself. House rules say the newcomers gotta be tied up till they earn some trust. Back at the RV, Boyd blocks off every exit and hangs the talisman as night falls hard. Ethan starts seizing. Outside, dozens of these humanoid things surround the vehicle, and one of them even talks, copying a rescuer's voice to try and lure everybody out. Jim almost buys it before Boyd stops him cold and lays it out. These things look human, sound human, and the only thing keeping him out is that talisman. Inside Colony House, Donna sits Tabitha down and finally spills the truth. Nobody here ever actually escaped the town. She's been stuck here 3.5 years, watched her own sister get killed by these things, and every single new arrival thinks it's some kind of sick prank until they flat out don't. Back at the RV, once Ethan's sedated, the crew manages to pull the table leg out and patch him up using supplies scavenged years back from a wrecked ambulance. Ethan wakes up saying he saw a wall covered in strange drawings. Drawings that, unbeknownst to him, actually exist in the bedroom of a colony house guy named Victor, who's been sketching the exact crash scene. Elsewhere, Sarah's washing blood off herself at home. Her brother Nathan finds her and demands to know what's going on. She swears she had no choice. At the clinic, a nurse checks on Toby's body and realizes somebody left the door unlocked. Creatures come pouring in. She barely makes it to the basement as all hell breaks loose. Morning rolls around and the town heads back out to collect the RV family. Sarah admits to Nathan that the voices told her to kill Toby and stage it like a monster attack. Supposedly the only way, they said, for everyone to eventually get home. She also fesses up that she's the one who left the clinic door open. When Kenny checks on his own dad at the clinic, he finds the nurse's body, and then his father's, torn to shreds. Boyd, back at his office, quietly resets that incident counter right back to 0. Jade, still convinced this whole thing is some elaborate prank cooked up by Toby, jacks a bike and causes a scene at the diner, demanding to find the clues. Meanwhile, a priest-type guy named Katri gives Jim's family a tour of both living options, town or colony house, and shows them a little wooden box near the sheriff's office reserved for anybody who breaks the rules. Tonight, it's getting used for the very first time, on Megan's dad. At a formal choosing ceremony, folks pick a rock if they want to live in town or a flower for colony house. Jade, still laughing it off like it's all theater, gets forced to choose and grabs a rock. The RV family splits up. Everybody picks town except Julie, who goes with colony house, kicking off a nasty argument that the town's rules just won't let anybody take back. At the graveyard, Kenny finally shows Jade Toby's mangled body, forcing him to finally accept this horror show is real. That night, Boyd and Katri lock Megan's dad in the box. The creatures rip it apart and kill him, while Boyd's forced to watch from his window, refusing to look away. A flashback shows young Victor once crawling out of an underground tunnel to find the town's original massacre, and reveals that a mysterious boy in white has been showing up to chosen kids for years, him included, and now Ethan too. Boyd comes clean to Kenny that he's got Parkinson's and is running out of time to find a way out. He needs Kenny ready to step up and lead. Jade and Jim discover the town's electricity has 0 actual wiring, yet everything still runs fine anyway. Trying to rig up a radio antenna in a tall tree, Jade touches the bark and is horrified to find century-old corpses in Civil War uniforms stuffed inside, followed by a terrifying hallucination of a soldier coming after him. Sarah, meanwhile, gets outed to Boyd by Katri. She's the one who murdered Toby, following voices that nailed the crash before it even happened and promised the whole town's freedom in exchange for obedience. Katri, eaten up with guilt over his own violent past, believes Sarah might be the ticket out. Tabitha finds a hidden hole in her basement leading straight down, and recognizes an old bracelet that ties her family's history way too close to this town's. She starts digging, with 0 clue she's tunneling right towards something ancient. A creature disguised as a gorgeous woman sweet-talks a resident named Kevin into ripping the nails out of his window, letting her, and a whole pack of others, into Colony House during a party. What follows is a full-blown massacre, residents getting slaughtered floor by floor while the survivors barricade themselves behind whatever talisman they can grab. Victor, sensing the attack coming, bolts through a hidden tunnel with Julie, leading her into the forest and through a weird hollow tree that instantly drops her into an underground cave system, the same tunnels running beneath the town. Boyd finally drags Sarah out into the forest, hoping the voices can point him toward a way home. Along the way, flashbacks reveal Boyd's own arrival years back, including the gut punch reveal that his wife, driven straight up mad by the town, started shooting residents at random, forcing Boyd to take her out to save their son. Back in town, Jim and the rest of the community finish building a radio tower, finally picking up a strange signal right as a massive storm rolls in. A voice on the radio,